Just when I thought I had seen it all, another surprise came out of nowhere. In part 1, I talked about culture shocks like riding jeepneys, midnight karaoke, unexpected local dishes, and how yes doesn't always mean yes. But the Philippines always has more in store. The culture shocks don't stop with the obvious stuff. They show up in daily life, in habits and routines that locals don't even think twice about. But to a foreigner, they stand out. This is part 2 of my Culture Shock series, and we are going even deeper into the details. Let's jump in. From table to toilet. You think culture shock hits you in traffic or during a visa run. Nope, it hits you at the table. And in the bathroom, sometimes within the same hour. Let's start at the Filipino table. You sit down for a meal, and the first thing you notice is the tissue. Right there, next to the spoon and fork. Neatly folded, sometimes inside a plastic cookie container. And yes, that's toilet paper, being proudly used as a napkin. Meanwhile, back in the bathroom, you're on your own. No toilet paper, no roll, no sign it ever existed. Instead, a small plastic bucket, a scoop, a tabo. At first, it terrifies you. 3 weeks later, it's your best friend. Back to the table. There's no knife, just a spoon and fork, and everyone is cutting meat like a master chef with just those 2 tools. You try it and end up launching a piece of pork across the room. Then someone invites you to eat with kamayan, by hand. Banana leaves as plates. Rice, fish, salted egg. No utensils, just fingers. You hesitate, but only once. Then you dive in. It's messy, joyful, and surprisingly freeing. You feel weirdly proud of yourself, like you've unlocked a local achievement. Just when you think it's over, someone pulls out MP Light. Now it's tagay time. 1 shot glass. 1. Passed around the group with that famous line. Tagay mo. Tagay ko. At first, it's weird. 1 glass, 10 mouths. Then it's bonding. You're laughing. You're included. You belong. But let's go back to the bathroom, shall we? In the province, sometimes there wasn't one. Just a boomba, a deep well pump in the yard. You pump the water out, fill your tabo, and take a shower under the sky. Cold, refreshing, slightly public, and absolutely unforgettable. That's what culture shock really looks like in the Philippines. Toilet paper on the table, a spoon doing a knife's job, 1 glass for 10 drinkers, hands for eating, a scoop for showering, and a boomba under the stars. Confusing at first, hilarious in hindsight, and over time, strangely comforting. Because somehow you adjust, and eventually you miss it when it's gone. Hey, Joe, and the friendly curiosity. No matter where I went in the Philippines, I quickly learned that people love to say, "Hey, Joe." Even if my name isn't Joe, kids would wave enthusiastically from the streets. Neighbors would nod and smile as I passed by, and complete strangers weren't shy to strike up a conversation. Sometimes, walking through a market or a barangay, someone would casually ask, "Where are you going?" Or, "Are you new here?" At first, it felt a little strange, like I stuck out too much, an obvious outsider in a sea of faces. But the more I stayed, the more I understood that this wasn't rudeness or nosiness. It was genuine curiosity wrapped in warmth, a desire to connect, to welcome, to make sure you're okay. Filipinos have this incredible openness. They'll chat with you without hesitation, share stories, offer help, or just smile and wave. That sense of friendliness can catch you off guard if you come from a place where people keep to themselves. It's a kind of culture shock that sneaks up on you, realizing that even as a foreigner, you're not invisible here. Instead, you quickly become part of the daily rhythm, greeted with nods, laughter, and the occasional, "Hey, Joe." And honestly, that might be the biggest culture shock of all. How fast this place starts to feel like home. Time is flexible. Welcome to Filipino time. In most Western countries, being on time is a sign of respect. You say 2 p.m. It means 2 p.m., not 2:15, not 3 o'clock. But in the Philippines, there's this thing called Filipino time. A 2 p.m. meeting might start at 2:30. A wedding at 3, expected around 4. And if someone says they're on the way, there's a good chance they haven't even left the house. I remember one afternoon sitting at Unique Beach Bar in Santa Fe on Bantayan Island, sharing a cold San Miguel Pilsen with a friend. He got a call from his girlfriend, who said she was on her way from Madrideos, a town about 20 kilometers away. I didn't want to intrude on their date, so I told him, "No worries, I'll finish this beer and head out." He just laughed and said, "No, she's probably still doing her makeup." And he was right. We ended up drinking 5 or 6 beers before she finally showed up. That's when I learned, on the way in the Philippines often means not yet, but soon. Maybe. In Filipino culture, being punctual isn't the priority. Relationships are. People show up when they're ready. No rush, no pressure. You'll hear things like, later, which could mean in an hour, or next week. Now, which almost never means now. Wait lang, just wait. And keep waiting. At first it can be frustrating, especially if you're used to tight schedules. But once you adjust, you stop watching the clock and start going with the flow. Filipino time isn't laziness. It's a more relaxed approach to life. And sometimes it even comes with a thoughtful twist. Just do not apply it at the airport or immigration office. Those are the only places where being late still has consequences. Instant family, whether you like it or not. In the West, dating someone usually means getting to know them first. Maybe later you meet the family if things get serious. In the Philippines, the family comes with the package. Instantly. You're not just dating a woman, you're dating her mom, her cousins, her lola, and probably a few neighbors too. I remember visiting my girlfriend's house, expecting a chill meet and greet. Instead, it felt like a full-on welcome ceremony. Chairs were lined up, snacks were out, and I was suddenly the center of attention. Lola asked when we'd get married. One cousin asked if I had a spare phone. Another just smiled at me like she already knew I'd be part of the family. In Filipino culture, family isn't just important, it's everything. People grow up closely connected, often under the same roof, and supporting each other is expected. And here's the thing, that support, sometimes it becomes your responsibility too. Especially if you're seen as the stable or well-off foreigner. There may be subtle, or not so subtle, expectations to help financially. Not just for your partner, but for siblings, parents, cousins, even neighbors in need. It might start small like buying rice or covering a school fee. But over time, it can feel like you're carrying the whole barangay on your back. Now, don't get me wrong. They're not trying to take advantage of you. In many Filipino families, sharing is survival. It's normal to pool resources and help each other out. But for Westerners used to independence and financial boundaries, this can come as a real shock. You have to set clear limits early and communicate well, or you risk drowning in obligations you never agreed to. So yes, when you date a Filipina, you don't just get a girlfriend, you get an entire family. It can be overwhelming, but it can also be beautiful. As long as you know your boundaries and protect your peace. And until you remember everyone's names. Just stick with kuya, ade, and a lot of smiling. So yeah, from Filipino time to Hey Joe. From dining table surprises to bathroom tabo tactics. The everyday life here just hits different. And if you're planning to live, travel, or date in the Philippines, you'll experience all of it. Culture shock isn't a one-time thing. It's a series of small moments that challenge what you think is normal. And that's what makes living here so interesting. More stories coming soon. And trust me, we're just scratching the surface. If you made it this far, hit that like button, maybe subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.